I'm joined now by Pennsylvania U.S. Senator Dave McCormick. Senator McCormick, thank you for spending some time with us today.
How you doing, Sean?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Great, thank you.
Yeah, let's start with one of, if not the biggest topics on people's minds right now, that is the Israel-Iran war. What can you share about what you've been briefed on about the conflict and U.S. involvement?
Well, you know, I was just in Israel and the region more broadly 2 weeks ago, and I met with Prime Minister Netanyahu and the opposition leader Lapid and the president of Israel, as well as leaders in the Gulf. And the one thing that everybody agrees on is Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. It is an unacceptable outcome. This is a country that has said explicitly it wants to destroy Israel and it wants to destroy the great Satan here in the United States. So we've got to ensure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. The second reason we got to make sure it doesn't have a nuclear weapon is that would kick off a huge arms race, a nuclear proliferation arms race in the Middle East. So it's in America's interest, it's in America first interest to make sure Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. The Israelis have done a masterful job of destroying the terrorist proxies of Hezbollah and Hamas. They've done a great job of taking out a lot of Iran's missile capability. And President Trump's done an incredible job of standing with Israel, but trying to find a peaceful resolution to this. And now the ball's in Iran's court. They can either agree to dismantlement and no enrichment, or they ultimately are going to recognize that we've got to eliminate that nuclear capability. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but my guess is that the United States will stand with Israel and make sure it has the resources it needs to take care of this threat for all of us.
Is there a scenario where you support the U.S. directly attacking Iran?
No, I don't think. I think our best support is getting behind them. Now we may support them with aircraft. We may support them with refueling. We certainly are supporting them with technology. But Israel's leading the charge here. They've done a great job. We need to stand with them. But I'd be very reluctant, particularly with ground troops, very reluctant to get America involved in another war. We've been at war for 20 years. I had boots on the ground myself as a soldier in Iraq, and the American people elected President Trump in part because he's going to keep us safe and out of wars. In this particular case, it's in America's interest to help dismantle that Iranian threat, and I think President Trump will stand with Israel in leading the charge.
Back here in the homeland, this week the public is getting its first look at the Senate's version of President Trump's big, beautiful bill. What are your thoughts on the version released by your colleagues in the Senate Finance Committee?
Well, I think first let's step back for a second. If you and I were talking 2 months ago and would have said, here we are, at this point, with President Trump, Speaker Johnson, and Majority Leader Thune totally aligned, this idea of a bill already passed the House. We're now trying to improve it in the Senate, but we started with the House bill. I think, and the idea that we're actually going to vote on by July 4th, we'd have said, no way is that going to happen. So we've made big progress. Failure is not an option here. We've got to get a bill passed to put the president's agenda in place. If we don't do that, we're going to have the largest tax increase in history. For your people listening and watching today, if we didn't pass this, a family that makes $50,000 a year would get a $2,000 increase in taxes. The bill also has border security to stop the flow of fentanyl into Pennsylvania. It killed 4,000 Pennsylvanians last year. It pluses up our military. The big debate right now is how to accelerate cost reduction. Our debt is spiraling out of control. It's $37 trillion. Our deficit's $2 trillion a year. It's like a family that makes $100,000 that spends $150,000. That's not sustainable. So we've got to ratchet that in. That the Senate version, I think, will have more cost reduction. And I'm looking at everything that's coming out of these committees. My big two questions are, number one, are we delivering on the promises we made to the American people and the people of Pennsylvania? Number two, are there any specific things in these bills that are going to disadvantage or hurt Pennsylvanians? I want to make sure that that this legislation is doing the things we promised, but also not inadvertently having an impact on Pennsylvanians that isn't in our interest.
Included in the Senate's version are steeper cuts to Medicaid compared to the House's version, such as lowering taxes on providers. Your colleague, Senator Hawley, expressed concern over the negative impacts he thinks that could have on rural hospitals. Do you share any of those concerns?
Well, listen, I'm looking at it very carefully, but I just want to put this in perspective. Medicaid is the fastest growing program in the federal budget. It's grown by $250 billion a year in the last 5 years. It's actually as big as the defense budget. And what's happened is we've got to secure Medicaid, protect Medicaid, so it protects the people it was designed for. That's disabled people, it's children, it's mothers with dependents. Medicaid, when it was envisioned, was never designed to help working age men that weren't working without dependents. And so what the House bill came up with and what the Senate bill is going to reaffirm is work requirements. So if you're a working age man without dependents, you're going to have work to be eligible for Medicaid. If you can't get a job, then you have to volunteer 20 hours a week, 80 hours a month. I mean, a lot of people I campaign with, men on the campaign trail, they work 80 hours a week. So that's the requirement. And I want to put this in perspective because it's so misleading what's being said. Right now, under the version that came out of the House, and the Senate will be similar to this, what's happening is the actual spending on Medicaid's not going down. It's growing at a slower rate. So it's essentially requiring that Medicaid will grow at 3% a year, which is faster than inflation. So I think these reforms are very needed, and they're designed to protect the Medicaid program for the people it's designed for. And so I'll support it, but I'm looking very closely to make sure we're not accidentally, inadvertently hurting the people the program was designed for. Let me give you an example. Community health centers. These are places where people that are typically struggling economically can get health care. A lot of the recipients there are Medicaid recipients. So as we look at this legislation, I want to make sure that it's not accidentally, inadvertently hurting community health centers. But I think we've got the outline of a good plan here. And my guess is the Senate version will get passed in the coming weeks, and the House version and the Senate will come together, and we're going to get something done soon, and the President will sign it, and we'll get on with the promises we made to the American people.
Amazon recently announced a $20 billion investment in Pennsylvania to build data centers for artificial intelligence. There's a lot of rural land and abandoned factories and mills across the state, including cities like Johnstown. In fact, one local lawmaker is calling for Amazon to consider Johnstown as a possible location. What can you do on the federal level to facilitate economic growth like that here in the Commonwealth?
Listen, this is Pennsylvania's future. You know, I campaigned on this. We are the place where energy innovation and artificial intelligence should come together. We're the place where the advanced manufacturing should come together. So I want to step back and just paint a picture. So in the last 6 weeks, we had the announcement of Nippon investing $14 billion in U.S. steel, including $2.5 billion in the Mon Valley. Next generation technology that's going to create a new arc furnace that's going to not only protect 10,000 jobs that are there, but add another 10,000 jobs in the building trades to build that facility. We had the Amazon announcement, $20 billion of investment, 3 times bigger than any announcement in Pennsylvania's history of investment. That's in Luzerne County, 6 miles from where I grew up, and in Bucks County. And we have this energy summit in July 15th in Pittsburgh, where President Trump is coming as the special guest, my guest for this innovation opportunity. And the whole focus of it is to do just what you said. It's to bring energy CEOs, the hyperscalers, the technology CEOs, the big money investors, the trades, to come together and say, Pennsylvania is the place where you should invest. Second largest energy production in the country, great skilled workers in the building trades, abundant energy, proximity to population centers, great tech talent at Carnegie Mellon, where this will be hosted, at Penn State, at University of Pennsylvania. We are in the middle of something great. We're going to look back on this, Sean, and we're going to say that was the turning point of Pennsylvania's renaissance, and this Nippon deal, this Amazon deal, more to follow. That's the future of Pennsylvania. It takes advantage of all the great ingredients we have to make our Commonwealth prosper and make sure our kids have great opportunities so they don't have to leave Pennsylvania, and I couldn't be more excited about it.
One last question for you, Senator. We reached out to our viewers to see what questions they would like us to ask you, and a lot of people shared the same sentiment. They were curious if you plan in the near future to hold a town hall where you can hear and meet with constituents. Is that something you plan on doing soon?
You know, I do. Let me tell you what I do all the time. So every week, I do a coffee, which is like a town hall here in the Capitol for people that are in Washington every week. That typically has somewhere between 100 and 150 people that can ask any question they want. I stand in front of the room and answer them. And then every 2 weeks, I do a virtual town hall. This is 12,000 people on the last one. That it goes in a queue. Any question comes, I answer the questions. And then I push those answers out on social media. So if you go to my social media, you'll see if you have a question about immigration, if you have a question about reconciliation, the big beautiful bill, NIH cuts, I've answered all those questions. And so I'm looking for every opportunity to try to have real-time feedback from our voters. Listen, I represent every single Pennsylvanian, Republican, Democrat, independent alike. And I would just challenge your listeners or your viewers to find any senator right now that's doing as much as I'm doing to try to get that interaction with the constituents and give straightforward answers. Just to give you a perspective on it, I think I get about 100 to 150,000 letters, emails, or telephone calls a week. And just today, I recorded a whole series of answers to those questions. So I think what I'm doing is trying to put myself in the middle of this and give people my honest responses. They're not going to agree with everything, of course, but I think they have every right to expect their elected official to answer their questions, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Senator, is there anything else that you want to let constituents know back here before we let you go?
Well, listen, I should have probably said this to start with, but I'm the 54th senator in Pennsylvania's history. I'm the 9th senator from West Point. I view it as an enormous privilege to serve. When you're walking down the hallways here in the Senate, you see the rotunda in the back, you see statues of Abraham Lincoln and Thomas Jefferson and Ronald Reagan, and say, okay, this is a great honor to represent the fifth biggest state, the most important state politically in the country. But it's a particular honor at this moment. There's so much going on. There's so much opportunity for change. I was elected on a mandate for change, and I hope your viewers are starting to see that change develop and manifest itself. If you want to know what I'm doing every week, you can follow me on social media. You can see those real-time town halls, and you can also get something called a Keystone Chronicle, which is the weekly update on all the issues and what's happening in Pennsylvania. And you can go to my website, Dave McCormick at senate.gov, and you can find out more about what I'm doing. So thanks for having me on the show today.
Yeah, Senator McCormick, thank you for spending time to answer our questions. We appreciate it.
You got it. Have a good day.
You too.